Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. I'm Jay Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Basketball lovers, this one's for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby. Ayo. Ayo. And over yonder, still running this ship, it's Eshua Kid.
How y'all doing?
What's up, Esh?
He's doing it.
We have heard from JD. He is recovering slowly. He's now standing. Yeah, we saw him sort of fumbling around a little bit. But he's alive, and he'll be back soon enough, don't you worry.
Boy.
Yeah. On today's show, we're going to talk about the latest De'Aaron Fox trade rumors that kicked off yesterday. We'll run through the Rising Stars player pool, and Iguodala is going to get his Warriors jersey retired. But let's talk about the All-Star team. Let's pick some All-Star reserves because we know the starters. We find out on Thursday who the coach is selected, but we got to do it first. And we'll show you the All-Star starters from the Eastern Conference. Just to remind you, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, that's your starting backcourt. And then your three bigs there, Smiley Karl Anthony Towns, Smiley Giannis, and Smiley Tatum.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson going the Derrick Rose mode
Yes, for sure.
The shade on everybody, some people's face. Like, yeah, look how dark it is.
Yeah.
It's an interesting light choice.
It's very, very weird, this graphic. So those, again, are the starters in the East. But let's pick our All-Star reserves from this Eastern Conference. Just a reminder, we're looking for 7 players here. Coaches do have to vote for 2 guards, 3 front court players, and then 2 wild cards. I sometimes think they sort of massage that a little bit if it helps their chances. Make a forward a guard, make a guard a forward, but we'll see how we do. We'll try and do this sort of by position as we go guards, forwards, and then our wild cards. Right. And I know we're going to disagree on some of them, but a lot, I assume, we'll lock in together. So let's go guards. Let's just go. Your 2 guards right now in the Eastern Conference. Who do you have on your list?
Let's see if we have a guards consensus.
Okay.
I've got Darius Garland.
Yes.
He's my first guy. I think you can arguably say he's having a better season than Donovan Mitchell, who's starting. He's a couple points back per game than Donovan Mitchell, but he's a more efficient shooter from everywhere. 2s, 3s, free throws, way more assists. Anyway,
he's been clutch too.
He's been super clutch.
Great. Besides those free throws he missed the other night.
Premier season.
He's been awesome. Garland's on your list.
He's on my list.
Okay, no brainer. Can't wait to see how many Cavs make this. The other guard, go ahead. Who do you have?
Do you have Garland as well?
A lock.
Okay, so who's the second one? That's the question. I'm going Damian Lillard here.
As the lock one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's really good. Great numbers. Do you consent?
He's on my team. Yes, he's not. He's a wild card, but yes, he's on my squad. Do you have him on your team?
Number 2 for me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
25, 5, and 7.
Really
Lillard's
good.
having an awesome season.
He is super efficient too.
Okay, so Garland, Dame. You want to stick with guards that make it, or should we just go front court? Let's go front court. Let's go front court. TKU start us here. Is another Cavalier in the squad here? Is Evan Mobley on your team as one of the front court players?
He was the lockiest lock I had.
Yep.
From anybody in the Eastern Conference. He was my number 1 choice for a guy that should be there. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block and a half per game.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah. He's and especially in the Eastern Conference. I know we're gonna keep breaking it down here. It's struggling at times to find maybe the forward positions, less so than all of the great guards.
A lot of injury concerns and missed time for some of our other front court candidates. Like Jalen Johnson has missed time, Franz Wagner and Paolo have both missed time. So those guys are definitely in the mix, I think. But Mobley has been available and great.
Okay. Yeah, he was my most improved player pick before this season. I wonder, making his first All-Star game here, if that will factor into people picking most improved player. He has definitely improved. Shout out to Kenny. Kenny Atkinson has done an incredible job.
Okay, we all have Mobley. Keep us going here, TK. Who's your second front court player in the East?
I don't want to. I don't want to, man. This guy's not a lock for me, but he's a Pascal lock him in.
Yeah, me too.
Siakam is making it for the front court for me. I think he's been the best two-way player, certainly, for the Pacers. He's their best scorer, 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. They look more like a Siakam team than they did last year, and I think that the Pacers putting it together here in the middle quarter of the season has been good for them.
You have Siakam.
I do have Siakam. Yeah, it came down to a guy you mentioned in Franz Wagner, who Pascal Siakam has played way more. I guess the best ability is availability. I mean, he's played 45 games compared to Franz Wagner's 28.
Yeah.
And so that factored in. Franz has had a really, really, really good season. But, yeah, the Pacers are very good team. He is their leading scorer. He's super efficient. And so his inclusion means Tyrese Haliburton is excluded. But Siakam's my guy. The forward spot in the Eastern Conference is the toughest of them all.
I agree. But we all agree on those first two that you have. You have Mobley. We have Siakam. I'm right there with you for all the reasons. Who's the third one in the East front court? You can give us a bunch of names that you would contemplate.
Okay, here's my 4 names I'm contemplating. Jaylen Brown, Jared Allen, Jalen Johnson, Franz Wagner.
Okay. Obviously removing Paolo because he missed so many games. Yes.
Yeah, I like that Franz is back. He'll be over 30 games by the time we get to the All-Star break, actually. He'll still be behind guys like Siakam and Jaylen Brown from a time played standpoint. So I ultimately did choose Jaylen Brown. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. A down season for him. Still a good season.
Yeah, that's ultimately where I fell too. I'm with you. It's feels like a down season. It is, but it's still an all-star level season when you just look at the forwards at least, and you compare it to some of the guys who missed a lot of time with injury. I had Jaylen Brown too, so I agree with TK's 3 picks there.
Same. And there's always talk about him playing guard, but he's a forward. He's played 72% of his minutes at small forward, and he's on one of the best friggin' teams. So that factors in when you compare him to Jalen Johnson, who is a very good player. That being said, these Atlanta Hawks seem to just be dropping. As you said, Franz will be above 30, but it's like the Hawks will be way below 500 when it comes to the All-Star game. And they're 3 now, and I think it's going to get worse and worse and worse. I'm having flashbacks of last year when Jalen Johnson was on this Atlanta Hawks team. They started 8-7. He left with an injury. He came back. They were 12-17 because they were 4-10 without him. He's really important. But yeah, I did factor into the standings, and Jalen Brown, 23, 6, and 5, as you said. Not an incredibly efficient season when you look at all those numbers. But when it comes to the forwards, those were the guys I was comparing.
So it sure sounds like no one's going to have another forward as a wild card position in the Eastern Conference.
Not me.
Okay.
Not me.
Nor me.
No.
No, because I think we've listed them all. The only other name I guess we haven't said, but he's on a brutal team, is Scotty Barnes is having a good season.
Yeah.
But he's missed 13 games. Pretty similar to Jalen Johnson in that regard.
I almost mentioned him, but I stopped myself because I mean he hasn't played. The team's very bad.
No. He's not.
He got it last year. Yeah. He was there last year, and he shouldn't have been.
Okay, so let's go to the wild card spots. 2 to pick from. Again, we've already tipped our hand. It's going to be guards. Tass, give us your first wild card here.
Cade Cunningham making his first All-Star game. He is the 1, 2, 3 option for this Detroit Pistons team, and his numbers are just damn good. And he does everything good. He's leading a 500 team, and he almost has a block per game. He does everything, and he's very, very good at it. So he was easy. He was easy to get there.
That's why I'm with you. I had Cade even, I guess, above Damian Lillard, but both were making my squad, so he's obviously there. You have him as a wild card?
I had Cade as a lock.
Okay. Yep. There we go. Final one. We've agreed. We got 6. We're 6 for 6 right now. We have all the same 6 guys, so it's the final one. There are a lot of names, especially with guards here. So we'll go with you, TK. Give us your final Eastern Conference All-Star reserve.
The guys I considered for my final Eastern Conference wild card / for me it is a guard are Tyler Herro, Trae Young, Tyrese Haliburton, Zach LaVine, and LaMelo Ball. And ultimately, I'm going with Tyler Herro. 24 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Awesome efficiency. He's playing like Steph Curry this season for a team that doesn't have a lot of offensive talent. They're still a middle 10 team offensively with Tyler Herro, and he's just had a really, really good season. He's second in the league in three-pointers made this year, shooting over 40% from 3. And he's become one of the best shooters in the league. So I'm going Herro, but the other guys have cases as well.
Yeah. I'm with you, too. I'm taking Tyler Herro.
Wow.
He's been very good. He's very efficient, crazy efficient. He's had to deal with a lot of stuff going off the court in Miami and done it well. And a bunch of guys who get left off. You mentioned Trae Young, LaMelo Ball. Tyrese Maxey deserves some recognition. Those are guys who score a lot, a lot. And a guy like Tyrese Maxey does a lot of other things. But there's efficiency problems. Their team is bad. And, yeah, depending on which one you're talking about. I mean, LaMelo Ball is probably the popular one that's getting ixnayed. I mean, the players, when they voted, they had him extremely high among guards. They had him 3rd among guards behind the 2 starters. But I just couldn't do it. I mean, we're trying to get defense back in the All-Star game. We know LaMelo ain't doing that. They're on pace for 23 wins. He's not super efficient. He's also hurt. The glutes are hurt. The ankles, or no, it's the ankles that are hurt.
Yeah.
But I read my note here about glutes because apparently he's got to strengthen his glutes.
People are saying he needs his glutes and his hips stronger. If he was healthy,
to make his
I would
ankles
be
better.
Yeah. If he was healthy, I would be making a case for him. Because, like I said, I think he should be there because he won the fan vote, and he's scoring almost 30 a game.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, it's brutal shooting percentages.
Yep.
He has missed a decent amount of time, and now he's injured again. Yeah, I don't think the coaches are going to select him. No. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the first guy to win a fan vote at a position and not make the All-Star team. I don't think it's happened before.
Yeah, I can't.
To be number one and not make it. It must be the last 5, 6, 7 years since they started this new thing.
Gotta be.
Yeah, but Zaza didn't make it, but he was voted third among forwards.
I see what you're saying.
And didn't make it. That's the only one I can remember, to be honest.
Well, I ultimately went with Tyler Herro, too, amongst all those guards, because, bad timing for the Hawks falling off. I mean, they were playing well. Now they're sub 3 games, sub 500. The Bulls, Zach LaVine has been amazing. But another team is what are they, 20 and 27? Obviously the Hornets, bad team. Tyrese Maxey, bad team, good numbers, but the shooting percentages have ticked up for him. I mean, he had a really rough start where he was asked to do everything. So I went Tyler Herro on efficiency, sort of the drama surrounding that team. They are above 500. He's their go-to guy offensively, especially when you look at Bam. I was like, hold on, should I be considering Bam? And I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's been rough. So I got Herro. So there you go, 7 for 7. Those are our all-stars.
Yeah, it did come down to Tyler Herro versus Trae Young to me, and it's been a bad month, like you're saying, for the Hawks. I think they're 4-10, and unfortunately, the reason they're losing is because their offense is bad right now, and that's on Trae Young a little bit. Right.
And I guess no consideration after you pick Siakam for Halliburton, who has had a really good January. I mean, he's played much, much better, toward the levels that we knew of him after the very bad start. But no.
Not me. He has definitely improved. His numbers are looking like last year. But Siakam has just been ridiculously consistent.
Yeah.
And Tyrese has gotten back there. Yeah, these numbers and the Trae Young thing doesn't feel right because a lot of his numbers are up, leading the league in assists because he sacrifices. But the numbers are bad in terms of shooting. They're, the worst one since his rookie year. Yeah. And I'm having flashbacks to last year when Jalen Johnson again got hurt when they were 8-7. Things went awry, and that's what's happening right now. They've made change, and again when the players voted, I think it was I'm guessing November 18th. I mean, it was a long time ago. Things were different. Tyler Herro was way down. He was 10th among guards, but Tyler Herro's gotten way better since then. So that's why he was my last guy over Trae and LaMelo, and got to look at Zach LaVine, got to look at Tyrese Maxey. Yeah. But no.
Okay, so our 7 reserves in the Eastern Conference, we all agree on Darius Garland, Damian Lillard, Mobley, Siakam, Jaylen Brown, and then it was Cade Cunningham and Tyler Herro. All right. Let's do it in the Western Conference. Here are your starters in the West. Some OGs on this squad. We have Steph Curry and SGA in the backcourt. And then your forwards, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and the Joker in Nikola Jokic. So
if you've won an MVP, don't smile.
Yes. Maybe that'll be different next year if he pulls it off, SGA, and gets it this year. Okay, so who are your all-star reserves from the West? Before you start, giving them to us, was this a more difficult challenge than the Eastern Conference to you? And how did it differ?
I thought it was more difficult, and I think it's almost a complete flip-flop of the Eastern Conference. It is hard to find guards in the West who have played enough games and are actually all-star level. Norm Powell might sneak in here because the class of guards in the West is not all that great. Meanwhile, in the front court, you could pick 6 different guys. We're going to have 8 centers in the All-Star game this season.
Here we go.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Here we go.
Watch out, Leonard Miller.
Yeah. So let's start with you on this one, Trae. Let's start with the 2 guards. Again, 2 guards, 3 forwards, and then 2 wild cards. Who are your 2 guards?
I only got 2 guards.
Okay, 2 guards that are locked.
I got 2.5 guards. One guy, I'm still contemplating. Will I switch it up? Stay tuned. Okay. Anthony Edwards. Yes. He's in for me. 26 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, leading the NBA in made threes. Even if you don't like him shooting threes, started dunking again as well. So I think Anthony Edwards. That's an easy one.
You agree?
Easy.
Okay.
It's an era of 3-point shots. This guy's doing it the most. You just get it. You just get in, man. It's yours. He's also good.
Okay, Ant is there. Now, who's your second guard? That's a lock for you.
My second guard is Kyrie Irving.
Okay. Same. But, this was... I contemplated other guys here, but go ahead. What's your case?
Okay, you can contemplate other guys.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic has only played 22 games.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. He's only played 22 games. Kyrie, 24, 5 and 5 in 37 games, 48 from the field, 42 from 3, 90 at the free throw line, and I think the Mavericks went 10 and 7 with Kyrie in the lineup and Luka sitting.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You got him there.
Yeah. We just saw all those old heads on that graphic that are starting for the Western Conference. It's kind of like picking an old head here with Kyrie. The numbers just are incredible. So that was part of it. Just came to, he's an incredible player, incredible numbers. And so, he pushes out some guys in the guard spot, but the forward spot was even harder than the guard spot.
And it feels like we're going to have a lot of wild cards that are forwards here. But, so we have Irving getting over your Bookers, your Foxes. What is Norman Powell? Is he a shooting guard? Is he a small forward? Okay, we'll get to that. Front court. You start us off here. Who are your locks, your 3 front court guys?
He goes by the name of Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, good pick.
I think everybody's, yep, he's getting there. The second pick was the harder one. It's not even that hard, but making a second Laker an easy pick for me was a little bit difficult because there are so many good Western Conference teams, and the Lakers just aren't toward the top anymore. They're 5th.
That's
and there's
solid,
though. It's solid enough. It is solid enough. And Anthony Davis, this is what made it slightly easy. His numbers are freaking ridiculous. So he is a great player. That's it. So Anthony Davis was my second one.
Now, he did exit last night's game against Philadelphia pretty early in the game, right? Grabbing his abdominal muscle there. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. He did not return to that game. But do you have AD as a lock as one of your front court players?
Absolutely. I got Wemby and AD as locks. The thing is that AD is the best player on the Lakers, but LeBron is starting because he's LeBron.
Yes.
So, you don't have to feel too bad about it.
No, I don't feel too bad.
It's okay. It's not your fault that LeBron got voted, and he's one of the greats of all time.
Yes, that's definitely what hampered it a bit, is that LeBron's there. Anthony Davis is their most important player, but it's okay to give LeBron a start. That's quite all right. It's quite all right. These other forwards in the Western Conference will make it 1 year, but it might not be this year.
Okay, so then who is your third front court player from the West?
Yeah, this one, it was tough. Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies was my guy. Okay. He's just gotten so much better. He's a modern day big. He's able to put it on the floor now this year way more. So he's my third one.
How do you feel about Jaren Jackson Jr., as one of these front court players or a wild card? Like, is he a lock to you?
I had him behind Wemby and ahead of AD.
Okay.
So Jaren Jackson Jr., big time lock for me. He's like Evan Mobley. People talk Evan Mobley up all the time, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing exactly the same thing, except for he doesn't rebound. But guess what? He's a better ball handler and a better scorer than Mobley is. So, Jaren Jackson Jr. I think is an easy one. Lock for me.
And did you, when you looked at the standings in the Western Conference, sort of want, a Memphis Grizzlies sort of representative there and thus pick him, and deservingly so from that team? Did that come into the equation here when you compare him to Sabonis's and Senguns and all those other bigs that we're going to talk about here?
Well, I think he's had a better season than all those guys. So that's why I picked him.
Okay. So he is in there. Jaren Jackson Jr. We got 2 more spots, and they sound like they're going to potentially be bigger guys or front court players. Who you picking, TK, as the representative big man here?
I over-indexed here. I do think I right now I got Sengun in. I'll put Sengun in.
Yeah.
And he is because the Rockets should have somebody there. 19 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists for Sengun. He is often their hub, though. Night to night, I don't think he's always their best player. But I think maybe over the course of the entire first half of the season, he has been. So I'm basically choosing Sengun because Jalen Green is kind of at the bottom of my list of guards. I'm in Thompson. It would be awesome to put him in.
If he had started.
Exactly. Maybe if he started the season, has been playing as well as he has for the past month, maybe he would be in the mix here. But ultimately, I did go with Sengun.
Is he on your team?
He's not on my team.
Oh,
there we go.
Wow.
It's a weird thing not to have any Rockets on my list, not to have any Clippers on my list. Also pretty weird. To me, it came down to Sengun or Domantas Sabonis, and Sabonis still on a decent team and doing incredible stuff at 21, 14 and a half, 6.5 assists. He even shoots friggin' threes, not a lot of them, but 48% for three. There's lots of good things about Sabonis. It was those 2 guys, and it's super weird not to have a Houston Rocket on there, but there's a bunch of good players on that team. You mentioned Jalen Green, and Freddie does some good stuff. They're good players. Şengün's probably their hub and their most important player. So it's weird not having him on there. The West is tough.
Well, this is fascinating. If you're contemplating between Şengün and Sabonis as one of the wild card spots, it sounds like there's another name as the other wild card spot in the mix here. Otherwise, you would just have both of them. And who is it? You go ahead, Tass.
I needed a second Thunder on there.
Yeah, you got Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Okay. Solely because of dominant record.
He's become their second.
He played small ball center when those guys were out. Their two guys.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
4 games.
Yeah, he's
good numbers.
He's become the second most important player on that team. If Chet Holmgren played the entire first half, Jalen Williams, I would assume, doesn't make this All-Star team. I would assume it's probably Chet. So it is just a bit of a get that guy in there who plays for a team that's the number 1 team in the Western Conference. To get him over a Şengün, it's a bit of a force. I don't mind Şengün in there, but that's who I want.
Okay. And then who's your final wildcard spot?
I'm switching. I'm putting Jalen Williams in over Sabonis. Sabonis is the guy that always throws me off when we get to All-Star. I'm like, this guy's not an All-Star. Then you go and look at his stats: 21 points a game, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He's ridiculously productive, but screw him. I'm going Jalen Williams. I talked myself into Sabonis and Gobert last year. I felt like a straight-up clown as soon as we were done recording. So I can't put 5 centers into the All-Star game. I'm sorry. I'm going Jalen Williams.
Yeah, I have J-Dub as well. I have Sabonis getting squeezed because it came down to Şengün or him for me. I'm hoping, in a weird way, as sick as it sounds, that there's going to be some minor injury that pulls one of the guys from the game. Maybe it's Anthony Davis. This hurts. My stomach hurts, and then you can get your guy that's on the bubble in because we get some reserves. Maybe that's Norman Powell too, who's unfortunately on the outside looking in here, it sounds like. And that sucks.
It does suck.
He's never, I feel pretty confident saying Norman Powell's never going to have a better season
this is it, man.
than this. So his best chance to make it, and maybe he would be an injury replacement if we get there. But
yeah, and maybe if he was in the Eastern Conference, things would be different. The West is just...
It would be.
Yeah, the West is just tough. It is going to come down to, tough guys at the end that Adam Silver's going to have to decide on. Hopefully he pulls a Trae and we can film it and he just says, screw it. I'm going with this guy. He deserves to be there. Because there's literally a little list. You said you picked Sabonis and Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert ain't even on the list, really. He's towards the bottom of. But the guys that are off my list: Şengün, Powell, De'Aaron Fox, James Harden, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Ivica Zubac. Ivica Zubac is a damn good player. Jamal Murray, DeRozan. Right. Gobert's at my bottom.
Okay. All right. So in the end, we disagreed a little bit.
I think we all took Jalen Williams.
We did.
You had Şengün?
I have Şengün as a wild card.
I've got Sabonis.
Sabonis. Okay. So that feels like
fair.
From what I've read of people making their teams, there's a lot of that. Jalen Williams, I've seen not included on a lot of lists. His numbers are not as maybe amazing as some of these other guys, but I'm with you. This is a dominant team we're seeing. It's like when you're looking at obviously point differential and net ratings and stuff like that. They are one of the best we've ever seen in the regular season. To this point, he's instrumental. We talk up the Cavs and we're like, oh, Mitchell, Garland, Mobley. Should there be a fourth? I'm not saying we need 3 or 4 Thunder players there, but SGA's sidekick, his elite wing, guy, he's deserving for sure. And the numbers are not brutal either. They're going to just probably tick up as his career goes on. So he's there for me. It's and then the Sabonis part of it is unfortunately, I felt Jaren Jackson Jr. and Şengün being on 2 of the 3 best teams in the West, they'd sort of need a representative. Those guys are their lead dogs. Sorry, Sabonis, you're a little bit lower.
Yeah.
That's sort of how I got to it. But his numbers are nuts. You're right.
Right, 21 and 15.
I know.
That's 7 assists. But it would be cool though to see Jokic, Şengün, and Sabonis somehow end up on the same team via the draft, and they're all just at the high post passing to each other back and forth, dribble handoff, hook shot.
I wonder if
it'd be very weird.
We'll get some crazy drafting going on, in terms of roster building here from Chuck or Shaq or Shaq. You're right. I don't know what the rules are going to be. I assume they're going to have to select the starter pool first and then move to the reserve pool. But
Yeah.
Like Shaq going all big man would be pretty funny.
I could see that happening.
You know, like
right?
Jaren Jackson Jr. running the point or something like that for the Wembanyama hell for running the point.
The big man is alive. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so agree or disagree. Let's hear your rosters. Who are the biggest snubs? Always a fun exercise here. And we'll talk about them on Friday's Drop podcast when we find out on Thursday night the actual teams. And like we said, we maybe we'll draft teams ourselves and then see, let the people decide who drafted the best team. That could be fun. Okay, let's get into some big news. Sort of not touching as much on the games last night, but the big news yesterday. The Kings are expected to open up talks for a potential De'Aaron Fox trade ahead of the deadline. To quote Shams here, there will be plenty of suitors for Fox, who made an All-NBA team in 22-23, but it's believed that the Kings point guard has a target destination in mind ahead of his free agency, sources said. End quote. This is my favorite part of the Shams article. It's like, he has a team in mind, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Obviously, a lot more reporting on this. It sure seems like that team is the San Antonio Spurs. Across the league, that's sort of the team that people see the prospect of pairing Fox with the future face of the league in Victor Wembanyama. So let's talk about that hypothetical, other teams that could be in the mix, and just the Kings, admitting, hey, maybe we will move him sooner rather than later here because of the no contract extension and stuff like that.
He's ready to move on. It sure feels like this is it. He has given his all to Sacramento, and he's loved Sacramento. I went back and watched all the footage. He sat in the room with his wife, Trae Fox, and Deuce and Mo in a little tiny room like a year and a half ago, and did a podcast with them. That guy loves Sacramento if he's doing podcasts in those type of rooms. But he's like, I'm no insult to their studio, but
beautiful.
It's a tiny studio.
Look at where we are, man. They can barely put 4 guys at this table.
We can fit a car in this place.
We love Deuce and Mo, man.
Oh, I love Deuce and Mo.
Yeah.
The fact that they went and agreed to that means he's given a lot to Sacramento.
Sure.
But he doesn't want to be there basketball-wise anymore. I think that's what happened. That's what it's about.
He loves Sacramento, but not playing there.
Yeah, not anymore. He did for a long time. His wife, Trae Fox, sat with Rich Paul and talked to the front office in December. And I think they've just come to an agreement. It's time to move on. It reminds me of Donovan Mitchell in Utah, where he gave it all, but at some point he said, I got to go. He came to Cleveland. He signed a 3-year extension this past summer after being there for a couple of years, and he said, I like it here. De'Aaron Fox was offered a 3-year extension this past summer by Sacramento. He said no. That's where he is. He just wants to go somewhere. He didn't win in Sacramento, like Donovan Mitchell didn't win in Utah, and that's it. That's what it comes down to. So I don't have an answer as to where he's going.
Right. Just for those that don't know, Fox has a $37.1 million salary next season. He could become a free agent in 2026 if an extension is not reached. He's eligible to sign a 4-year, $228 million extension with Sacramento this summer, or 6 months after he's traded with his new team. So that's part of the equation here. What do you think, TK? I mean, we talked about Fox and the trade rumors when Rich Paul was sitting courtside, right? Then it died down because we had Mike Brown being fired, and then Doug Christie sort of turned the team around. We didn't hear much, of those Fox trade rumors, and here we go again from Rich Paul, his agent, and the Fox camp of like, hey, probably look to move me here before the deadline. What do you think?
Well, something we never heard was the Kings come out and say that De'Aaron Fox had nothing to do with Mike Brown's firing. We heard Fox say that, but the Kings never backed him up. So I wonder if there's a little tension in the front office. There's been reporting out of Sacramento as well that the front office has come to Fox and Sabonis and be like, we got these deals done, and then literally no deals ever happen. They made the playoffs. They didn't win a playoff series. It looks like they're stagnating here without really a way to get any better. They're probably going to lose the 13th pick as of now. It's a top 12 protected, I believe, to the Hawks, so that would be a bad loss of a draft pick. And I don't know, it's almost De'Aaron Fox doing a little bit of a favor, because he's like, I'm going to leave, but you're going to get the best return you could possibly get for me if you trade me right now, because there's 18 months left on his deal. The team trading for him, like you're saying, even if it's not his preferred destination, they can take a chance and say, we can still sign you to a huge contract after 6 months. Come here, see if you like what we've got going on. So maybe the Kings will get a good offer. The dude's only 27 years old. He's got time left on his contract, and he's extension eligible. He's the number one trade target out there right now. Like, the Miami Heat have to be more interested in De'Aaron Fox than they are in Bradley Beal or any of this return that's coming back for Jimmy Butler going out. So I think the Kings could do okay here. They might be able to get some pieces back. They should probably blow it up, if we're being completely honest. They won't, because it took them 20 years to even get back into the playoff play-in mode. They don't want to go back the other way, but it sucks for the Kings that they're going to lose Fox, because they are, but they could come out of it okay on the other side, I think.
Okay, and now let's talk about it from the Spurs side of things. Like, should the Spurs be really active here in trying to add De'Aaron Fox to their roster? I know it depends on what goes out. You would assume the Kings are like, okay, you're going to have Fox. We'll take Castle, your high draft pick. I assume the Spurs are going to say, no, we're not doing that. Are you interested in a Devin Vassell or Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins' contract and picks? Because they have a lot of other teams' picks. But then it's weird. Like, here's the picks, but maybe the Kings want to still be competitive. So what do you think, Tass, of the Spurs side of it? Should they be looking, do you like the pairing idea of Fox with Wembanyama, or are there issues there not being a sort of a shooter and so on?
Well, De'Aaron Fox is a damn good player. I think he can shoot. He's not a traditional lights-out shooter, but he can shoot. What it comes down to, if it's Stephon Castle, I guess if the Spurs are negotiating, they say, no, we want to keep him. But if it comes down to that's the only thing that will the Kings will do it for, I think it may happen. But I would love to see him with Wemby. It would be an incredible matchup. Yeah.
I don't think that Fox would be the number one guy I pick to put next to Wembanyama from like a young player perspective, because he's not a good shooter. He's a 33% career shooter. He's had a couple of good seasons, but he likes to do it with the ball in his hands as well, rather than a catch and shoot guy. And honestly, I want Victor to have the ball more often than I want their point guard to have the ball. But it's so interesting. First of all, I think it's pretty crazy that this guy's in his second year and he's already getting all-stars to want to leave teams, leave paydays to come and play with him. Number two, win now moves, usually a bad idea in the NBA. That's how the Cavs lost LeBron the first time around. They thought they were ready to win because LeBron was one of the best players in the league at 21. They traded all their picks. They brought in these vets that they thought would help. Eventually, they had nothing left. He went to Miami. Everybody knows that story. However, I wonder if Wemby is like getting a great quarterback in the NFL at the top of the draft. Jaden Daniels, for instance. This is the cheapest Wemby is going to be for the next 15 years. So maybe you try and bring in talent like Fox. I wouldn't trade Castle. Vassell, maybe, but clearly the Spurs are going to want to do it for... I don't think Harrison Barnes can be traded, but like Keldon Johnson can be in a trade. They're going to want to send role players back. The Kings should not want that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this stretches into the summer, because the Kings don't have to trade Fox at this point. I like the idea of him on the Spurs, but I would rather trade Spurs picks than they've got 3 Hawks picks coming. They've got the Hawks unprotected pick this year, a swap the season after that, and an unprotected pick after that. They should hang on to those picks because those are going to be juicy. But you can trade the Spurs can trade their own picks. They're just going to be in the 20s.
Yeah, because you're banking on Wembanyama obviously being the best player here in the NBA in a couple of years. Yeah, they also have, ironically, I guess, the Spurs control swap rights on Sacramento's 2031 first rounder, thanks to the DeRozan deal in the offseason. So if any sort of trade package is being talked about, I think it starts with that, right? If you're saying, hey, can we get that back? You start with that, and then the players, you go from there. Yeah, hey, we want Castle. Well, we don't want to give you Castle because we're terrified, and I've seen a lot of this, like, the idea like Castle turns into like the SGA type piece where he moves in that Clippers Thunder deal and suddenly this guy blossoms into like a superstar player. I mean, who knows, right? Castle's going to be a good player. He appears to be, but will he be to that level? You never know, but you want to hold on to him. So I'm doing more Vassell. Yeah, Keldon Johnson for sure. Jeremy Sohan, that one's in, I'd be intrigued if I'm the Kings. I know some Spurs fans love him. I think he has his limitations, of course, but he is an energetic defensive guy, and maybe you just want that good energy around Wembanyama. But man, you're right about guys like you're going to see the start lining up to get to play with Wemby, and you should if you want a legit shot at championships, pluralize that maybe, or at least the window with him as the star guy.
Yeah, the Spurs tend to not trade somebody at the deadline. They slow it down, baby. And so it's unlikely we'll see the Spurs make it happen right here, right now. But it does make sense from the Kings front office perspective to say, yeah, a year and a half left. This is the time that they'll get the most for him. But it could definitely go to the offseason when it sure feels
if it's a true blow it up, like TK was saying the Kings maybe should lean into, then you're good. Then you could get a really good package back because there's a lot of picks involved here. But it's like they may still want to be, hey, we were bad for 20 years. Like we want to still stay somewhat relevant in play-in races, in playoff races. We want talent, and be it young talent at that, to grow with our team.
Yeah,
so
the question is some of those other teams that don't have a star player could be looking. The Grizzlies come to mind. The Rockets obviously are in there. But the Spurs one feels the juiciest, that's for sure.
Because he wants to be there. I think his wife's from San Antonio and stuff like that too. So he does. Fox wants to go there. If you believe the reports.
He's from Houston, right?
Yeah,
yes,
but I think his wife's from there. Are there any other teams that should be like kick the tires on? Hey, we'll take De'Aaron Fox off your hands for 18 months. Here, what do you think about this deal?
Houston absolutely should kick the tires on it. They've said they're not making any trades. I suggested a Zach LaVine trade for them, and Houston Rockets fans got very upset. They said, no way. But Fox, come on, 27 years old. The guy would be money to have on this team. He's a clutch player, and that's something that they've been struggling with the entire year. I don't mind him on the Magic, though the shooting might become an issue there. Don't mind him on the Heat. He'd be good for that team as well if they're looking to upgrade their talent. People like staying in Miami.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Kings should get good offers. I think Sham said dozens of teams were calling on De'Aaron Fox immediately because of his contract situation and his age. So that's probably why the clutch team is not saying that he wants to go to the Spurs, because there's going to be a bidding war. If he says he wants to go to the Spurs, they're going to have to trade Castle. Right now, surely the Spurs don't want to trade Castle, but why would the Kings do it otherwise if he's not coming back? So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Fox ends up on a team that's not the Spurs, and then eventually just signs there in 2026 anyways.
That is a possibility.
Yeah, and a lot of those teams that would go normally into free agency and say, we can attract somebody at some point. It's harder to do that now under the new CBA. It's just easier to do it with trades if possible. So I think they are going to get a plentiful of trade offers.
The only other team I've seen like rumored to show interest in De'Aaron Fox right now is the Brooklyn Nets, I guess, or some whispers about him being like a guy that they think they could like sort of build around, right? Being his age still, and he would be their lead dog, and what would that take in return? So you name the other teams: Magic, Nets, Rockets.
How does the Nets even make
Spurs.
sense? That doesn't make sense. They just did the trade so that they could be terrible this year.
I know.
And so now they would... it ain't going to be the Nets.
Probably not the Nets. Any other thoughts on Fox?
Well, people that were saying that I was trash talking the here on the stream team, the Deuce and Mo studio. I wasn't trash talking by any means. For let's say if there's a star of a city that would go to a home, the home of two podcasters.
Yeah,
I mean I think that's bold. That's good for them. That's great for him.
I think it says even more about Deuce and Mo, to be honest. Just the connections they've made with these players, the trust they have with this organization and these players. Yeah.
And Rasay.
No, it is very nice. Yeah.
And Rasay, yes. Yeah.
He's been there a long time.
You think we could get Trae Young in here?
I think. Yes.
It's the equivalent.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhat equivalent. Obviously,
it is the
city.
equivalent of studio space, even though we can fit a car in here. The relationship is the question. Deuce and Mo seemed extremely connected.
Well, I was going to say the difference, there's similarities, but the difference is we're not a Hawks podcast.
True.
Right.
This is 100% true.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Hawks,
there we go.
Breaking news: Jalen Johnson's out for the season.
Yeah. You knew it was going to happen.
Torn labrum.
Oh, that is a bummer.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
First he injures his one shoulder, comes back, then it's his other shoulder. And unfortunately, like I said about the Hawks, things started really well last year with the Hawks. They were great with Jalen Johnson. Great. I mean, good for the Hawks anyway. 8-7, that's great for the Hawks. But then they plummeted as soon as he went out.
He is important.
Yes. Yeah, and they end up 36-46. Was a huge part of it. So that's going to be a problem.
Does this change any there of trade thoughts here with less than 10 days to go before the deadline in terms of moving any guys? And it's like leaning in like the season's a wash for them and just try and get young prospects, draft capital, whatever. back. I don't know who. Like, I guess it's Capella. Obviously,
I think Capella and Bogdanovic are available if anybody's interested. But their pick is unprotected going to the Spurs, so they can't get too bad.
Yeah, right.
Literally, if they hit the lottery and get the number 1 pick, it goes to the Spurs this year.
Oh my god.
For the DeJounte Murray trade. He's on the Pelicans.
Yeah, that's tough. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's talk about the NBA announcing the rosters for the Rising Stars Challenge. Is it still a challenge, or is it just Rising Stars? Anyway, it's at All-Star Weekend. Victor Wembanyama headlining the list of players. The Rising Stars, I'll still call it challenge, will take place on Friday, February 14th. Oh, a day of love. 28 of the league's best young talent competing in a mini tournament, for those that don't remember. Winning team gets a chance, though, to compete against the All-Stars on Sunday night. Here's the pool of players we're showing everybody here on YouTube. I am not going to read all these names, but at the bottom there, you got the G League team. That's its own team. Everybody else, like the rookies and the sophomores, they're going to be drafted on February 4th. Okay? But not the G League team is the G League team. So, sorry, Reed. You're with them. But
Reed will have fans there. I was at the Rockets-Hawks game yesterday. Reed had fans in the building in Atlanta. Okay. I saw Reed Shepherd jerseys. I saw Reed Shepherd jerseys. There are fans. There will be fans.
I'm going to be cheering for the G League team. They got Leonard Miller on that team. Go Iowa Wolves. But I got to ask you, TK, who are the big snubs from this one?
There are no snubs.
No snubs, he says.
No snubs. There's no such thing as a snub in the Rising Stars game. Somebody's going to have to replace Jared McCain, though.
Yeah.
And that's the big question. Will it be Matas Buzelis or will it be Kalower? That's is who it's going to come down to.
Right.
Buzelis has played 15 games more than Ware has, but only 79 more minutes. That's a huge complaint amongst Bulls fans, is that Buzelis doesn't play enough for a team that's really stuck in the middle. Why aren't you playing your young guy? I would say his biggest advantage for being chosen for this game is that he will already be there.
Yeah, he's got to be there on Saturday.
He's got to be there for the dunk contest, so maybe they just let him play in this challenge. He also led the G League team to a victory in the Rising Stars Challenge last year.
Experience.
Buzzer beater.
Yeah, experience.
Buzzer beaten.
But then it is weird that Ware wouldn't be included in this game, seeing as he right now is the Rookie of the Year favorite. Maybe a little odd. I'm with you, TK. I think it feels like it's going to be one of those two guys. Also, we have time. There'll be more injuries probably to some of these guys, or they're like, my ankle's sore. I can't make it. So there could be more replacements.
Could be.
Anyone else jump out to you that didn't get included?
No.
Looks
solid to me. What about you?
No, not really. I do have I have a note though about this because it was in like the official NBA sort of press release or statement, and here it is, because I said Wembanyama's he's going to be playing on Friday night. He's going to get drafted to one of these teams and he's going to be playing. And maybe his team goes all the way and wins the whole thing, and then they'll play on Sunday. And we're like, well, what's going to happen? He's probably going to be an all-star. We have him on our team. He'll probably get selected. Will he get to pick? Apparently not. Quote, if a player is selected to play in the NBA All-Star Game and Rising Stars, he will only compete for one of the 3 teams of NBA All-Stars on Sunday. That's dumb. Let him pick if he were to make it there. It'd just be way more fun if he's like, nah, I'm running with my youngins here. It would just be more fun in a completely meaningless tournament as it is. It could build his lore if he could actually, lead that team to a victory. But no, anyway, we won't be doing that. He's an all-star. If he gets selected, he'll be playing with one of those squads when he's drafted.
It would be nice just to see him pick. It'd be fun. Yeah, I agree.
You think he would pick the young guys? Or you think he would pick the legends of the game playing on the same team as them?
I think he'd pick the young guys.
I disagree.
Because he would have won on Friday night, and he'd be like, yeah, this is my squad now. Yeah, absolutely, actually, I think he would.
I disagree. The guy wants to be the best player of all time, and he's going to say, no, I'm going to be a rising star.
You know how you become your lore builds? By basically doing what Jimmy Butler did when he was with the Wolves and taking the scrubs and beating the starters. By beating all the legends. With I was going to say Buzelis, maybe makes the team. Whoever you want to pick from that team that he gets drafted with. That'd be awesome. It wouldn't happen, and nor is it going to happen because he'll be an all-star on the all-star team.
Yeah, that's why they put him at the bottom of the ballot. It is by alphabetical, but they're like, you can tell that there's one extra name. They're like, we got one guy who's gonna definitely be an all-star, but we got to put him here because he is a second-year player.
And you're willing to play in the Rising Stars Challenge game, so that's cool. for the NBA, that he's willing to do it. Period.
Yes. He's saying I will be participating at All-Star Weekend, regardless.
Yeah.
But he will be an All-Star.
he
Scoot
will
Henderson,
definitely.
though, 4-time Rising Star Challenge participant. He made it twice for the G League team.
Yes.
He made it last season as well, and he's here again.
Wow.
Unbreakable record. Literally, it won't happen again. The guy was a 17-year-old playing in the G League.
Unless they... Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
There's just no more
make
people
sense.
who can do it.
I was going to say, unless they, somehow change the rules, but like to allow like a third-year player. But yeah, that's amazing.
Reed Shepherd has played 3 games in the G League.
He's averaging 30 points per game or something.
Yeah, so is Brandon Williams, who has played the entire time in the G League. I don't think Reed Shepherd should be there.
Yeah, so
name
I
power,
always
man.
thought
This is
That's
name
it.
power.
It's literally
Of
name
course
power. That's
is.
it.
Yeah. I always thought these teams, like the Rising Stars player pool, was like picked by the NBA. I sort of just assumed that. Like they're like, okay, we'll just pick these things. But in fact, that's wrong. Each NBA team submitted 1 ballot per coaching staff, selected 4 front court players, 4 guards, and 2 additional players at either position in order of preference for the rookie ballot and a sophomore ballot, and then it's all like tabulated and added up. Coaches not allowed to vote for anyone on their own teams, of course. So, but that's how we get to this.
I will say, if the NBA was voting or picking the teams, Bronny James would probably be there, and I appreciate that Bronny James is not there, and that there are other people who have done more in the leagues, including G League, than Bronny James. So it's a good move. And apparently Bronny James was asked to play in the skills challenge on Saturday.
They denied.
They denied. He denied. Everybody denied. Everybody's denying that. Whatever that means. I guess that seems like it's a please come to the skills challenge.
Yeah.
That's what
it'd
sure
be cool.
feels
We
like.
think it'd be cool if you and your dad did it, or the James crew did it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Honestly,
Thanasis did one.
yeah,
right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's honest. Yeah.
Literally anybody who has a good last name.
Yeah,
Please be in the skills challenge.
Yeah. How do you feel about there being the G League unit here team? Are you a fan of it? Don't care? Does it bother you that like they could just pick more rookies or sophomores, I guess, from the league? What's your take?
I'd rather see Montas Buzelis there than Leonard Miller.
Okay. Damn.
I like how they're highlighting the G League.
That's what
There's
they're-
30
that's the whole
teams.
point of it.
There's 30 G League teams. It's cool.
They
Go
started
watch it.
this when there was the G League Ignite, and they wanted to get these guys buzz coming into the league, and they dropped the G League Ignite.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that this should be NBA players. It's NBA All-Star Weekend.
Hey, look, I'm pumped to see a guy named Dink again.
Dink Pate, we
Yeah,
saw him play last year.
Yep.
He's young. He's a young guy.
He's very, very young. But he will be on that G League team. All right, final piece of news here. Golden State Warriors will retire Andre Iguodala's number 9 jersey on February 23rd following the team's game against the Dallas Mavericks. It will make Iguodala just the 7th player in Warriors franchise history to have his jersey number retired by the organization. This guy helped lead Golden State to 4 titles, 15, 17, 18, and then 22 because he came back to the Warriors. I always forget he left there and then came back. Seems pretty appropriate that Iguodala is going to get his jersey raised when Klay Thompson is also there as a visiting member of the Dallas Mavericks. I like that touch.
Baby.
So you'll have the big 3 there, obviously Steph, Draymond, and then Klay on the visiting Mavericks, along with Iguodala there. And they did a little fun video, obviously honoring him here. I think it was his son was doing the narration, which is cool. Nice little touch.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think so. Who's like quite old now. I mean, Iguodala's 41? Is he 41, 42?
And sometimes it's great to not be on social media, as I was yesterday. I missed it. But sometimes, you miss out. Like on this tribute video narrated by his son.
I think so, yeah. They do. Like most teams do a pretty good job of these little things, right? The looking back at the franchise or the career of the player that they're going to honor. It's well done. It's good.
Yeah, and I love when kids get the mic. I was at Kids Night yesterday. Hawks, Rockets. They got to intro the players. That was cool.
Oh, yeah?
Ash, you missed it. You missed the kids' intros. It was solid. It was very, very solid. The fact that he could say Onyeka and Kongwu.
Oh, that's tough.
Great pronunciations. Well done, kid. Well done.
His son is 17 years old.
Okay,
so he's not a baby.
old. Yeah, he's extremely. He mentioned him in the Athletic article. Actually, now that you say that, I didn't know how many sons he had. Maybe it was a shorter one. But this one is extremely tall. This guy, he said,
Yeah.
I've got a tall son who's playing ball.
Yeah.
He's extremely long.
Tall son. Yeah, I think he's already
son.
6'6". He might be taller now, yeah.
I think his wingspan might be bigger than Andre Iguodala's.
Wow, that's a
We're going to be talking to him. We're going to be seeing him in the G League game soon.
So Iguodala's number 9 jersey going up, and I'm sure you're not surprised they're doing this, but do you have any notes on it?
No, this is really cool. Like, when you think of the Warriors dynasty, obviously you think Steph, Clay, Draymond, Kerr. That's the first names that come up. But then the next two are Kevin Durant, and for me, Andre Iguodala. He made the death lineup possible.
Yep.
He was there to help recruit Kevin Durant to come to the Warriors as well as part of the Hamptons lineup, which they eventually ended up calling it. If Iguodala wasn't able to adjust his game to playing alongside Curry, Draymond, and Klay Thompson, the Warriors wouldn't have been the dynasty that they were. The guy was like a one-on-one player, miscast on the Philadelphia 76ers. He went to the Nuggets for that 1 year. A lot of controversy with how he went from the Nuggets to the Warriors, but it worked out for the Warriors. They knew what they were getting in Andre Iguodala, and he became like a beloved role player, glue guy, do everything for Iguodala. Some people think he's the best clutch player in league history, taking him over Steph, taking him over LeBron. Give me Iguodala.
Wow.
Well, one guy thinks
Yeah,
that.
one guy.
One guy ever thought that, but he'll be very happy to see Iggy's number going up.
I did love this quote from Joe Lacob, who's the Warriors co-executive chairman, CEO. He said in a statement, quote, Iguodala was the perfect player and person at the perfect time for our team, and the sacrifice he made in coming off the bench in 2014 sent a message that he came here to help us do one thing: win. The proof is in the rafters, and his number belongs alongside the banners he helped us raise. The proof is in the rafters. It's usually in the pudding. But those are bars, man.
I was looking for all the pudding. Couldn't find the proof anywhere.
It's in the rafters, baby. So that was a cool line. And like, it speaks to what you said. Like, this guy was an all-star. I mean, it was a one-time all-star, but obviously like a 20-point-per-game scorer back in the Philly days. And then, comes to the bench and just becomes incredible defensive player and just incredible team player, clutch player, and wins a Finals MVP.
Finals MVP.
Which is nuts to think, but he's got one of them.
And I guess the fact that the Nuggets played a playoff series against the Golden State Warriors when he was there, that's kind of a cool thing as well. In 2013, they saw from the other side of the floor. Oh yeah, that guy would be perfect on our team.
Well,
come on over.
And allegedly he was giving them the inside info. That series.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you should be doing against our team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
This guy was a warrior at heart, man.
That's
before
right.
He was even
He
there.
liked what they were cooking.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so congrats to Iguodala on getting his jersey retired here less than a month. Okay, pick him. It's over. I've lost.
You have.
What did I say? I helped you out. I gave it to you there, Ash. Here, take this win, because I guess I'm going to take the Lakers.
Yeah, I really appreciate that too.
I mean, look, I think I got a little unlucky as soon as AD went out.
Yeah,
That was big. He's a damn all-star, and they ripped off a massive run after he went back to the locker room. But Philly wins. I officially cannot catch Ash, so we're just going through the motions here. Why not?
Oh, we're playing for pride here.
Yeah, we're playing for pride.
It does happen every single month where we pick games 13, 14 hours before the game, and then somebody is out. Somebody is cut. But we don't change our picks. No,
but in my case, I mean, he played.
Yeah.
And then he got injured.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Anyway, you're done anyways. You were done anyways.
We had Maxey cooking Bronny all night, too.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Maxey had a nice game. He had a nice one.
Do we have a
Monstrous game.
defensive skills challenge at All-Star Weekend? Yikes. Anyway, Maxey cooked.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was not really coming down to the wire anyways.
No.
You had to go perfect. Ash had to lose. You'll be paying it off on February 10th. We'll keep next week clean and open for the trade deadline.
Oh,
we'll be
thank
doing
you.
it Monday, February 10th. Yeah.
No, it's smart. After you see what I'm going to be doing, I think this is the right decision. Just bump it back a week. February 10th, we'll do it.
We know how ratings work. We want more ratings on that week because everybody's going to be watching or listening because of trade deadline.
Right.
We'll get a few people tuning in on Monday, February 10th, that entire week. Anyway, Denver at the Knicks tonight.
Okay.
The Knicks are favored by 3.5 in MSG as Denver comes to town for an ESPN game. Should be a great battle. And it's not surprising that we're split here.
we're
A couple
split
of us
again.
taking the Knicks to win by 4 or more. Ash and Trae. The other two taking the Nuggets.
Oh, this is nice. We have a battle for the top of January's Pick'em now. And it's still in play. I guess all three of you are still technically in play.
That's
true.
number one
spot.
True.
Hey, man.
Very true.
Hey, man. So good luck. So yeah, Trae and Ash taking the Nugs. Got some points to play with in MSG. But we're taking
Good luck to everybody.
We're going to hear from some Knicks fans, I just realized. You guys didn't even mention Josh Hart.
Triple-double machine.
Hey, man. Very important. Great player. But no, you got your two starters. Well done.
Yeah. Well, we didn't mention Mikal Bridges. He doesn't deserve a little bit of recognition.
Yeah, Josh Hart, man. He's the heart and soul of that team.
Oh, the heart and soul. Mikal Bridges leads the league in minutes played.
Oh, how many
availability
is Josh Hart behind him?
The
Can't be many.
ability is availability. 38.4. He's played every single game too.
Okay, what about Hart?
I'm not looking at that. Yeah, Tibbs is literally playing everybody on his team.
Yeah.
The most in the league. Well, there's three guys. OG as well.
Sick. They have four of the top 5 in minutes played.
Wow. In total or per game?
Total. Yeah.
Jesus, Murphy.
Josh Hart 75 minutes behind Mikal Bridges.
Oh, damn.
He must have missed 2 games. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plays hard. He plays hard.
This is, I guess it's too deep for the analytics, but I didn't know that there hasn't been one team that's led the NBA in minutes played for an entire season. Like had the top 3 guys
top
in
three.
minutes
Top
played.
3, okay.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, top 3.
Top 5.
Top 3.
Even amazing. Our starting lineup.
That probably happened in like the 60s or something. Just have the same 5 guys. They don't have anybody else coming off the bench.
Possibly,
just play.
Yeah, maybe.
The Toronto Huskies did it. I heard about that.
All right, let's call it there, everybody. If you enjoyed this classic, hit the like button, subscribe, share the show. Podcast listeners, consider leaving us a 5-star rating and review. In fact, you should, because I guess next Friday, I should say, will be first Friday of the month of February, and that's when TK usually takes us through some of the best reviews.
We'll have to check with the Nielsen ratings people to see if it's okay to do a 5-star Friday on the day after the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
I don't know.
You're
I'm
right.
not sure.
There might be too much to talk about, but then again, there might be nothing.
There might be nothing.
We've had some pretty boring trade deadlines. We're hoping that won't be the case.
Well, if it's the following Friday, we could do it live in Golden State.
We'll be doing an All-Star Week. Oh my God!
Yeah, that's the next Friday. Yeah, we'll be doing a live show. That'll probably be our
We had a
show,
lot. Hold on, we have a lot
assume.
coming up here. We have the NBA trade deadline. We have a pick'em payoff week that I'll be doing. We have All-Star Weekend, which we plan on doing. We hopefully will have some details on a potential live show. I know a lot of you have been asking.
Yep.
And we have the Super Bowl. Do we have the Grammys in there too?
Yeah.
We have this Fire Aid
Oscars?
concert, which is on Thursday night,
When is the
tomorrow night.
Oscars?
Something is this
Or
Sunday.
Oscars, maybe. Yeah, there's something.
Oscars are around
Yeah.
All-Star.
We have Valentine's
March
Day.
2nd. Okay,
Oh,
that's a little
okay,
later.
okay.
A
It's later, it's later.
A little later.
Okay. Anyway, though,
Michael Jordan's birthday. Charles Barkley's birthday.
your birthday?
Oh man, I didn't even realize it.
Oh, I was just bringing up birthdays.
Just bringing up birthdays. Nikola Jokic's birthday.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway,
Mike Miller.
action-packed.
Dave Stewart.
the former athletic pitcher?
Former A's pitcher.
Wow, I liked him.
He was the best guy I had going until Mike Miller came around with his monkey.
And then Jokic.
And then it was Jokic. Yeah.
Oh, is the monkeys born on the same day?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
That's why you got him.
That's what I got.
That was a gift, actually. Fresh out of the womb.
Very cool. Very cool. Anyway, action-packed here in No Dunks Land. So, yeah, hit that like button. Really appreciate it. Till then, Clipper Bro!
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, February 2nd, it's the Grammys. Joey Grammy and Stephen Grammy's birthday. No, it's not Stephen Grammy's and Joey Grammy's birthday. Yeah,
It is the Grammys, though.
Yes, this Friday.
Oh,
Or
you know-
Sunday. This Sunday.
Sunday. No, yeah. One other thing I forgot. In February. That's my really bad impersonation. No, Survivor returns, which means no buffs returns. That's late February. Oh my God, what a February!
And that's the shortest month, man.
How do they do it?
Man,
What?
Jesus. Stock up on some energy. Embrace the day, people.